com, and your password is test two. Okay, so what it will help, when you enter the login, it will be processed to web server. In the web server, again it will be called to app server and finding out the business logic, because in the app server it will try to first of all validate all the thing, like whether this credential are stored on the database or not, the application database or not. So this all thing will be flowed to database server, and from the database query you'll get some result, and then you will match with your username and password. If it is there, then the application server will provide you some kind of detail. Here it will provide you TV results, and from here it will tell that this, yes, you are the correct application, you are the correct user, you logged into the application and it is authenticated properly, and then the request is transferred. Okay, so let's see, this is the response. This is the request. So this is the whole core thing. It works in an application, and this way I have taken any one business scenario. So let's just try to replicate the same. If I am not an authenticate user, after entering any detail, it should give me some kind of error message. Let's see, I am XYZ at the rate xyz.com, and my password is, suppose this, I'm giving some detail, okay, and trying to give enter. So you see, XYZ username or password is incorrect. So let's just try to make any kind of with any legal. So let's see, XXX Saurav at the rate gmail.com, and now I'll try to put enter. So it is giving me some kind of message. The username or password is incorrect. Suppose if I type any password, but still it will not accept and it will give me an error message. This is the kind of scenario you will be testing. You'll try to enter some positive as well as negative scenario and validate your functionality. Here the major functionality comes into picture, and this is the major role which is given to functional tester. Okay, so I think you have got a basic idea about functional testing. So let's see, like, what are the types of testing they do. I told smoke testing. Smoke testing is nothing but whenever a feature is developed, you want to make sure before doing any kind of test, you want to make sure you have a smoke test, or you want to sure, like, before starting a regression test. Regression is nothing but to check all the components of the application are functionally stable, like because of any particular release or any particular component, the whole application is not breaking out. So we got a picture of this, like a end-to-end flow. Like you will be doing a testing whenever you perform regression testing. You will be doing end-to-end flow. Like you'll test all the modules. You'll cover all the modules, each and every modules. What you need to focus, you will cover all that, and then you'll see that your application is fine. If your application is stable, then what, you'll give a sign off. You'll inform the developer that yes, I have tested so and so thing, and whatever code you have done, it's absolutely working fine, and it is not breaking out, and I am giving a sign off, so that they will push the code into the production after that. Like after that they will be performing other testing like automation testing, non-functional testing, and many more. Like, so let's just focus. Like, as you have got a idea on this thing, so I will just take a common picture. Okay, I just I'll just take a picture of mobile phone. By seeing the mobile phone, you might be telling me like, "Oh, why, sir? Why are you telling me, showing us the mobile phone? And what is so relatable to functional testing or non-functional testing in this picture?" So I'll just before deep diving on this thing, just you have a clear picture. So just shape this. I'll tell scenario, login scenario. Okay, I have saved this and I will focus on one more. Okay, so let's just start with one thing. Now, what I was trying to tell you is like, why this mobile phone? You are, sir, why are you showing me mobile phone? I just try to put here. Okay. So, as a functional tester, so here you see like what is the role for the functional tester. So I'll just try to do it here. They'll try to see application switch off, like the user is able to switch off the phone. This is the functionality. Or user is able to switch on the phone, or user camera able to click pictures, record a video, like install application, and SIM card, network. So as a functional tester, I will try to check each and every component and make sure my components are functionally stable and reliable for an end user, so that then only my business will grow. And as a end user, if my product is not supporting or having a buggy thing, then I will be disappointed and I will never come up to that. I'll never purchase that phone again. Suppose you have a bad phone or you have a low any kind of thing, if your functionality is not fine, and definitely, so if I am an user, I will not purchase that phone. But what comes to non-functional testing? My agenda will be load, performance, speed, memory, CPU, disk, ROM, and everything. Like, this is the factors which comes into play in non-functional testing. So by seeing this picture, you might have got an idea like what is what are the rules and responsibility for a functional tester and what are the rules and responsibility for non-functional tester. So I'll just tell you like you might have known example functional access. So I've already mentioned like this thing. So let's just start. Like you might have got a basic idea about functional testing and like what are the roles and responsibility we will do and what is like as a functional tester you need to understand the functional requirement. Understand functional requirement. First of all, you need to understand the functional requirement, like what all things are required to be tested and what all things it is not to be tested. Then you need to prepare a test data. Prepare a test data. Test data is nothing but, for example, username x@gmail.com, comma. This is one type of test data for a username y@gmail.com and many more. Like you might be knowing for if you consider Gmail application, there are thousands to thousands of users logging in and performing each activity, like composing a email or deleting an email or archiving an email or anything, any core functionality they are performing on the business email. Okay, sorry for this guys. Okay, so this is called test data and password is also you have multiple passwords. Test 1 2 3 for first one, test 1 2 5 for first second one, like this, and it will continue. Okay, and even for this I want to continue. So once you got this thing, you have to prepare the test cases or design the test case. Okay, prepare or design the test case. So as a functional tester, you need to prepare or design the test case. And I have already told you, when you perform execution, and you perform execution, check, validate actual and expected result. Okay, so you have seen this when you perform any execution, you might see that some of the test case might fail. Then once the test case is failed, suppose you test the functionality and found out defect, defect or bug in the application. Okay, when you test the functionality and found a defect or bug in the application, you'll try to raise a defect log for that functionality with some priority. Okay, priority might be decided on medium, priority, high, medium, and low. The same way, severity is also high, medium, and low. So you, for this, you need a defect tracking tool. Okay. So once you see that you got any defect, then you'll try to log the defect in a defect tracking tool, maybe Mantis or Jira or any application where whatever your company is using. So you got now you might have got a picture like you test this thing as a functional tester. You perform this thing and you kind of you got in you got a defect and you raise the defect. Once the defect is raised, once the defect is raised and fixed, that is retested. Once you found out the defect is raised and the developer has fixed the bug, then you want to make sure that whenever you are retesting the application or functionality, you must not absorb any kind of defects or issue in the application. And then once this is done, you will sign off. It's done. So this is the procedure it is being followed. And as a functional testing, there is many like types of testing. Types. Okay. So you have, I'll just tell you the types of testing. First of all, what are the types of functional testing? One, unit testing. Second, regression testing, smoke testing. Third, sanity testing. Integration testing, API testing. 6. White box testing. 7. Black box testing. 8. User acceptance testing. 9. UI testing. While testing. 11. Regression testing. Like these are the types. Normally, these are the types you will perform. Like as a functional tester, you will undergo with this all activities and you'll try to make ensure that your application is fine or you don't have any kind of issue in this. So now I think that you might have got a very good concept in functional in about some concept about functional testing. So I'll try to focus on non-functional testing. Okay, non-functional testing is known as NFT is also known as non-functional testing. And we want to ensure the performance of the application under load is working fine. And when you launch the application, you know that Flipkart have millions of users. And in the big billion day, whenever billions of users try to perform any activity, at that point of time, our application gets slow or our server might crash. You remember whenever they have launched the first big billion day, at that day, the Flipkart application was crashed because they don't know how much amount of users will get logged in and they'll buy the products. So that point of time, performance come into a picture. They need the performance testing. How fast, whenever I want to perform or buy a product, and I go to the payment page. Suppose I will just take a new save. um, Okay. Suppose what I will do, I will focus now on NFT performance testing. This is also known as non-functional testing. Okay. So you know that our application under load. We will test the application under load. So coming to this, like we'll validate the performance of an application under load. Like now you might have a question: what is performance and what is load? Like load is nothing but a burden to the application. Whenever X amount of users come into log in the application, then you find that your application becomes slow because the user is the amount of burden which is creating the burden the user is creating on the application. And now performance, what will say how responsive our application is and how stable our application is. Load, it is user create a burden to the application. Performance will check the responsiveness and stability, scalability of the application. Okay, these all factors come in non-functional testing. So basically, performance testing comes under quality assurance, like how non-functional testing is also it also comes in quality assurance. Non-functional testing will also comes into quality assurance, and here we check the speed, capacity, and stability of the application. And now you might have some idea about performance, non-functional testing, as well as functional testing. So functional testing is to see correctness of the application. But non-functional testing is to see the scalability, capacity, responsive, and speed. These all factors come into picture. Okay. So when we do performance testing, whenever you observe when performance testing is needed, when application is stable, then we undergo NFT. Once you find that your application is totally working fine or stable, then only we try to gather all the non-functional requirement and try to test. So now I have already I told you that the type of no, I'll tell you the non-functional types. NFT. So in NFT, what come into picture? Okay, first is performance testing. Second is security testing. Third is accessibility testing, compatibility testing. Next, batch testing, regression testing, volume testing. Okay, this all type of testing we undergo. Under performance testing, again, it is categorized into many types. One, two, three. So you will see that load test and endurance test, spike test, breakdown test, stress test. Okay, so this all things we want to make sure like whenever we do any kind of performance testing, under this load test, endurance test, spike test, breakdown test, stress test, everything we will perform and we'll make sure each and every attribute or every component required to performance are matched. So we will have some kind of tools in this like load runner, JMeter, like there is some kind of open source tools required for performance testing. Load runner, storm runner, JMeter, storm runner, RP and Neoload, Webload. and there are n number of tools required. So majorly this tool is used by co- many companies as it is a license and it has a very good UI. And when it comes to open source, JMeter is being used. So these are the two, and now lot of tools are being used. So, but load runner and JMeter are majorly focused or contributed in the IT market for performance testing. So let's just tell, like, as you might have got every idea about what is functional testing and non-functional testing, what are the types of tests we undergo in non-NF performance testing, and how do we do functional testing. Everything you might have got. So let's see, let me take one, like how I have taken one user scenario. I will take some of the small generic approach or a scenario where you can identify your performance testing, or you want to simulate the real world user load on the server and identify the key components or KPIs like user load, response time, request rate, everything. And in this, for functional testing, will follow STLC, software testing lifecycle. For performance testing, will follow the approach PTLC, performance testing lifecycle. In the next, like in the coming classes, I will tell you each and every concept related to this. But let me just focus on, like mm, let me just focus on a example on a single user flow. Like suppose a your client have given, the client wants that there will be 100 users get logged in. As this is developed new, my client is expecting around 100 users, and he is telling like response time SLA, response time SLA is around 3 seconds. So when you request any of, or when you give a request like login request, you might expect that your dashboard should be coming up in 3 seconds. Okay, and it will tell like 100 users in 5 minutes, which is equals to 3 in 1 second. In 1 minute, 20 users should be signed in. We expect that, and in 1 minute 20 users should be logged in, and he might be given CPU should be 60 percentage and memory should be 60. It should stay under 60%. So these are the key KPIs which needs to be triggered or captured, or seen during your performance test. And you'll perform your load test by seeing these all matrices. So as you have all known, I've already told you these things, this concept and all, like types of testing. So I'll try to wrap up this class and continue our class from tomorrow, and I'll come up with very interesting and a real world scenario where you learn each and everything. And I hope so you like this concept, you understood something from this session. And if you face any kind of difficulty, then you can surely approach or reach me. I'll make sure your doubts are cleared. And thanks. Have a great day.